LeBron James injury, can the Lakers still make a playoff push? Now,
maybe it's better Drew isn't here.
Lakers are the 12th seed right now. They're 29-33.
12th seed all year.
All year. All season long. I mean, I was the only person at this table that actually did not have the Lakers in a play-in at all.
Beginning of the season?
Yeah, I didn't have the Lakers in a play-in. I had them outside of it. And I feel very good about that right now. I do. Because not only were the fit issues apparent before they made these trades, I think now that they made these trades, the team actually looks good. Before they made these trades with Westbrook and you have Lonnie Walker starting, it's just not a good team. But the other issue with the Lakers was always the injuries. We saw Anthony Davis start off playing well, all NBA level. He gets hurt. And now LeBron James with the foot injury. They're saying he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. To me, it seems like he's not going to come back until a month from now. There's only a month and a half left in the season. Anthony Davis is out tonight against OKC. Also, D'Lo's out as well. D'Lo's now catching the injury bug. I think it's just safe to say the Lakers are just not going to make the play-in game. Right now, you have the Pelicans ahead of them, the Jazz, the Timberwolves, the Mavericks. Those teams are more healthier. Although the Pelicans and Zion is injured for them currently, I like their team all around, and I think that they can kind of find a way to just, squeak in. If not, the Blazers can definitely take their spot, and I think the Blazers getting healthier with Simons and Nurkic will be a better team than the Lakers. And I'm glad about it. I am. I'm glad that the Lakers are not making the playoffs or the play-in.
Oh my God.
And the reason
the
is
hate is generational.
It's not even hate. It's just the fact that I am so annoyed with everybody trying to talk and prop up the Lakers every other week. I mean, we sat here before the All-Star break, and Drew was propping up the Lakers, saying they're only 2 games behind this 5th seed. They have never been able to get out they
haven't been in the play-in.
Have they ever been in the play-in since that time?
Maybe like October.
They have not been. So I get annoyed because whenever the Lakers win a game, it's a hard-fought game. They beat the Grizzlies, on a nationally televised game. Oh, my goodness, this team, if they just play like this, they could win a championship. Yeah. Oh, they're a dangerous playoff team. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm just tired of it because we have so many great NBA teams and storylines. We have Jokic doing his thing. We have the Kings doing their thing. We have the Mavericks do, although they haven't gotten off to the best start. I really just say the Kings and the Nuggets because it always seems like, especially when I turn on ESPN for a little bit, it seems like all the talking heads always say, if the Lakers can manage to get into the playoffs and face the Nuggets or the Kings, they can beat them in the first round. They can have this major upset. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people propping up the Lakers into a category that they are not deserving of. And I just think that I understand the Lakers fan base is huge, and it's the exact reason why they get propped up so much. The latest example of this is Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, I've been talking about him for years on this podcast. Nobody knew how good Jared Vanderbilt was. Nobody. He plays one game for the Lakers. He's the second coming of Scottie Pippen. I mean, for me, I just think that the Lakers' allure kind of just gets annoying, and I think it's okay to admit that they're not a great team. And now with LeBron injured, their offensive efficiency with LeBron on the court is 115.1. With him off, they're 107.2. Their defensive efficiency is 111.4 with him on. With him off, they're 113.8. They have a minus 6.6 net rating with LeBron off the floor, 27th in the NBA. And mind you, their offensive efficiency without LeBron is worse than the Houston Rockets.
It's worse than the NBA.
Yes, it's the absolute worst in the NBA. It is pretty certain that they are not going to make the playoffs. And since LeBron got to LA, the Lakers are 36-63 without him, and they're 5-10 this season when he doesn't play. And I remember when the trades first happened with D'Lo and Beasley and Vando, and we had the segment about the Lakers or Clippers, who improved more at the deadline. And I still gave the Lakers criticism. And all the comments on that video was, oh, this guy's going to eat his words. The Lakers can actually compete. Now look at us now.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Look at us now.
Because with LeBron, they were a competitive team.
With LeBron, they were 500.
I'm saying with the new additions, a extremely small sample size that I don't want to, assume they would have gone this run, made the playoffs, even win a first-round series. But I don't think that's entirely fair, because when LeBron was on the court with these new pieces, we saw them come back from 27 against the Mavericks. Now, outlier game, probably, right? 27 is I think the largest in Lakers history, or largest in whatever 30 years, whatever the stat was. And to go on with your point more about like NBA talking heads, I remember might have been the day after, 2 days after, on one of the NBA shows on ESPN, all the panelists, whoever was on there, Perkin, whoever else, they were like, who would you take in this series, the Nuggets or the Lakers? And everybody on that panel took the Los Angeles Lakers. Part of that has to do with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and I understand that. But part of it also has to do, I think, with disrespect to the Nuggets, and maybe just disrespect overall, it feels like, in the NBA to smaller markets. I saw something on Twitter, I wish I remember who it was, just comparing how the NBA treats its small markets to how the NFL treats its small markets. Nobody in the NFL cares that Mahomes is on Kansas City or that Burrow's in Cincinnati. They still get the same amount of love if they were in New York, LA, whatever. The NBA doesn't really seem like that. In the NBA, if you're on the Lakers, maybe it's just a LeBron James effect, they're getting way more attention than even the Milwaukee Bucks, who are arguably the best team in the NBA this year, or the Denver Nuggets, who are in that conversation as well. But to get back to the Lakers a little bit, this playoff push went from probable to almost impossible now, right? You lose LeBron James, and as Joel, read off the stats, you are the worst offense in the NBA when he's not on the court. And some of that, obviously, a large sample size of that is with Westbrook and, not the pieces they have right now. But you're losing LeBron, and you got D'Lo, who I think is a better playmaker than Westbrook, so at least you have some sort of normalcy at the point guard position when you didn't have that pre-trade. But you're losing, your best playmaker, your best shot creator. Like, it's LeBron James, right? I don't think we have to go into incredible detail about how much he means to this Lakers team. But for Lakers fans who were expecting to go on this push, and all year long, who I was always on the fence because I understood them. You're only a couple games out of the play-in. But when you're only a couple games out of the play-in for 3 or 4 months, it's like maybe that's what you are. Maybe you just are a borderline playoff team. And we're never really going to know what this team could have been with LeBron James and Beasley and Vandal and all of these pieces, because currently LeBron is going to be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. I think the timeline on this injury is 4 to 6 weeks. We're in March 1st right now. Playoff starts middle of April. It's always around Easter time. So that's going to go up. If it's the minimum, it's a month from now. You're talking about April 1st, and the Lakers have 8 games, maybe, if that, right? 2 weeks of basketball for them to get into that play-in. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're going to fall 8 games behind at the play-in spot, but now you're getting in a time where you have to go undefeated, you have to get help, and you're expecting LeBron to come back, being able to play 30-plus minutes and no issues, no setbacks or anything like that. And LeBron James, for how great he is, and fantastic, obviously, best basketball player of all time, if that's your opinion, he is 38. And he has had multiple foot/ankle injuries over the last couple of years, including this season, right? Just a week or two before, he was missing time right before the All-Star break, right before the Super Bowl. I know it was a big deal. He went to the Super Bowl and wasn't playing games. So he was dealing with this not exact injury, but it could have been because of that injury that he hurt his foot. And then obviously we saw in that Dallas game, he said, I heard a pop, and we hear, weeks later or a couple of days later about the news. Overall, it seems pretty hard. I don't think they're going to make the play-in. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. If some miraculous reason, and we didn't even talk about tonight, they play the Thunder, which is a huge game, a massive game. Anthony Davis isn't playing. D'Angelo Russell isn't playing. Shea isn't playing also for the Thunder, so maybe it's more of a toss-up. But when you have your two guys being AD and LeBron James, who nobody wants to predict injuries, no one wants to say guys are going to get hurt, but it's year after year after year with the Lakers. And the only year it didn't happen was the biggest outlier in probably sports history, when there is a bubble and they get 3 months off and then they get to come back fully rested. If that happens again and the Lakers get 3 months off, okay, we can have a conversation. But, knock on wood, we don't have another COVID situation where they could have months off. So when you have a team that has an aging LeBron and a brittle Anthony Davis, and as LeBron ages, he is brittle as well, you're going to have these situations. And we didn't really talk about it when these trades happened, saying, they got all these pieces, but you still got to stay healthy. We almost just assumed the health was going to be there. They would figure it out. Unfortunately for LeBron and the Lakers, it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. And then next year, entering age 39 season, it is hard to count on these Lakers year in and year out.
You know what it is? I always feel like pressure draws more interest. So for the Lakers, it feels like all year they've been between the 12th and the 13th seed. Now, they aren't that far out. Like, they're even still only 3.5 games out from the 6th seed, right? But the issue with the Lakers was always, okay, the injury concerns. And he made a great point. In their 2020 championship run, everything went right for them, right? Matchups, Russell Westbrook and James Harden didn't click. They had their injuries. Then they go to the finals. They play a badly beaten, very much injured Heat team. They win a championship. Since then, basically everything went wrong for the Lakers the last 18 months, right? Bad trades, players maybe not developing like Taylor Horton Tucker, and then just a lack of continuity. We got to the point this year where it took him the first half of the season to figure things out. This year without Anthony Davis, with LeBron, Dennis Schroeder, Pat Bev, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown, they were a plus 18 in 250 possessions. So like you saw the glimpses of what they could be with LeBron in the fold, even without Anthony Davis. And I think it's what drew so much hope for Lakers fans. The issue now, of course, is LeBron is going to miss at least the next 2 weeks. There's only 6 weeks left in the season. I look at this Lakers team, and the good news is, for the first time in 2 years, the theory of it makes sense, right? You can win in different ways. Defensively, Vando, V8, and Anthony Davis, that is a deadly combination. I mean, in that Mavericks game, it was perfect. You could switch AD onto Luka, and you could have V8 guard all 94 feet. Offensively, you have some floor spacing. The second issue is, which is why there's so much pressure on this team, LeBron's going to be turning 40 years old in 2 years. Anthony Davis is about to turn 30. If AD can't stay healthy for at least 60 games in his 20s, in his 30s, that's not going to change. So it's probably the weirdest time for the Lakers all the way back for a decade now, because the theory of the team makes sense, but I mean, you have a tough decision to make. Do you have to consider moving Anthony Davis, because that's your best asset, to maybe get a more durable fit alongside LeBron as he's hitting his twilight years?
Who is that fit, though?
Kyrie. Yeah.
But
Sign trade.
AD for Kyrie.
Something along those lines.
You're not winning a championship with LeBron and Kyrie and nobody else.
Just
really.
those two is going to be tough.
Yep.
And it's also, listen, they played the Grizzlies the other night, right? And I found this interesting because I think we all agree Grizzlies are by far the better team, right? Especially without LeBron James. I think it's without question. You know, the Grizzlies hit 6 threes in that game, and they won by 12 points. I went to see the worst shooting team in the league is the Houston Rockets. 6 threes or less only happened to them 3 times so far this entire season. And the Lakers allowed 6 threes against the Grizzlies and still lost by double-digit points. If that goes to show you the margin for error for this Lakers, and they even shot like 38% from 3 themselves, right? Yeah. So the margin for error for this Lakers team is so incredibly small that a team could have the worst shooting night of their season and still win by double digits against this team.
You know, I think that also there's so much dysfunction around the Lakers and there's so much talking points around them that we don't often mention that Darvin Ham is an unimpressive coach. He hasn't been very impressive or inspiring.
You and I were talking about this a month ago against the Celtics, where it felt like he's been pressing the buttons at the right times, but his lineups haven't been quite right. And just, well, he's a motivator, and that was a big talking point coming in, the fact he was a former player that the players would buy into. He hasn't actually figured it out yet. And as a rookie coach, that is very concerning for this team.
Yeah, that's why I think the Lakers are probably not going to make the play-in. Their next 10 games, you have the Thunder tonight, then the Wolves Friday, then you have the Warriors, the Grizzlies, the Raptors, Knicks, Pelicans, Rockets, Mavericks, Magic. There's only one gimme. That's the Rockets. I think all those other teams are toss-ups. And that's another thing I had a problem with, is that we just assume that the Lakers can run through the West and go on this insane win streak. Given how the West is this year and just the league in general, every game is tough. We look at the 11th seed right now is what? The Portland Trail Blazers. They're a tough out, too.